A deep gorge carved over the eons cuts dramatically across the landscape, and a river flowing more than 1,000 feet below, revealing layers of the earth frozen in time, make this one of Utah's most scenic vistas. This is the Little Grand Canyon. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. We are out in the San Rafael Swell, which is in central Utah, and we're going to be spending a couple of days out here and checking out a place called the Wedge. The Wedge is the northern edge of the San Rafael Swell, and I'm going to talk about the camping and hiking opportunities you have out here. We found this really nice little campsite here, and we are camped out by the Goodwater Canyon Trailhead, and I will put the coordinates to this campsite in the description below the video if you want to get out here and check it out. I would highly recommend it. This area has a lot of dispersed camping and it has some very nice views, and we're going to do a little bit of a walk later on this evening, and we're going to walk along the rim of Goodwater Canyon. But we just got to camp. I got things set up. I'm going to relax for a few, enjoy some sunshine, maybe a beer, and then we're going to go for a little walk, and I'm going to take all you guys with us. So we'll see you in a few. We are camped right by this. This is a tributary to Goodwater Canyon, which is right over here. And this, of course, is a tributary to the San Rafael River. We're going to hike along this rim for a little while and check things out. One of the things I always found interesting about certain areas here in the San Rafael Swell, there are some pretty tall trees in this canyon, and those are Douglas fir. Douglas fir typically grow up in the mountains around here, but this area is fairly high and they get enough water that you're able to get some small stands of them, which is pretty cool. You can find them throughout this higher part of the San Rafael Swell. So we are about 6,400 feet, almost 900 feet above the canyon that we're looking at over here. I have camped out here at least a dozen times, including once just last year, but evidently they decided that there is a little too much use out there and decided to close off the area with these rocks. But we're still going to walk out here. It's a really nice area. You'll see why I like to camp out here. I used to be able to park my truck right here and camp. Sometimes they have to close these areas if they get used too much. And of course, when we were camping over there, it was just a quick walk over to the edge. This is the Goodwater Canyon Trailhead, and this is a hiking and mountain biking trail. We are going to go over here and get on that trail, and that is going to take us all the way out to that point. They have this little kiosk here that talks about the east trailhead of the Goodwater Rim Trail, and it gives you a nice little map here. It tells you about the trail. One of the things BLM did is put in a really nice outhouse. Now, obviously, this place gets a lot of use for them to justify putting out the money for this kind of a place. Let's go check it out. See if it's still that clean. This is really nice. Even smells good in there. This one too. These are literally some of the cleanest pit toilets I've seen. Right here is where the trail takes off out of the parking lot. So we're going to hike along this. The Wedge is one of the most scenic vistas in a state world-renowned for its scenery. Overlooking a deep gorge carved through the eons, Utah's Little Grand Canyon is a stunning and iconic landscape to behold. The canyon bottom is 800 or 900 feet below us. It's quite a drop. We're on top of a similar band of Navajo sandstone like you see across the canyon from us. The straight down is probably only 300-400 feet. This is the point of the next finger over from the one that we were on, and we're going to hike up the trail a little ways. It'll follow the rim, but then there's a connector route that takes you back over to the parking lot, which is where we're going to go. Now, this trail, as it was showing down there at the board, runs all along this lip, this next one, so it basically goes out to this point, cuts back in, and there's a couple more. It meets with a trailhead up here, but it eventually works its way all the way across here, and it meets up with the main Wedge Overlook parking lot and camping area. We're going to go up there tomorrow, so I will show you all of that because it's really cool. Well, this is the trail that will lead us back over to the parking area. It's not an official trail. I think it's just a route people use to connect them back up over to the parking lot. And here we are, back at the parking area. Well, good morning, everybody. We are at the Wedge East Trailhead number 1. You'll find this on the map. This is a camping area about a mile away from where we camped last night. As you can see, it's got some really nice views, fire pit, plenty of parking. But we are going to hike out to the edge of the eastern wedge, and we're going to look down to the San Rafael River and Buckskin Draw. I've been out here a couple times before. Hike this route. There is not a trail. This is pretty much a choose your own adventure, bit of route finding, and you pretty much just want to go south. You're going to run into it. Maybe I should say you can't miss it. It's going to be a huge cliff that drops down, 1,500 feet or more. Now, other people have obviously hiked out here. I can see plenty of footprints. We'll see if maybe there's a little bit more of a trail worn, but this is not any kind of a designated trail. Well, there does seem to be somewhat of a route that people have been hiking along We're going to take that, see if it gets us to where we want to go. Now I'm running my AllTrails app. I will provide a link below in the description that will have a map, or rather the route that we took to get out here. So if you decide to come out here and check it out, you'll at least have something that you can use to navigate with. So the swell is an uplifted area where sedimentary rock layers were pushed upward into a dome-like mountain formation called an anticline. This formation is estimated to have formed about 40 to 70 million years ago. Millions of years after the anticline was formed, erosion wore away at the swell's crest, exposing millions of years of natural history. The oldest rocks, which are estimated to be 300 million years old, are near the center of the swell, surrounded by a ring of younger rocks estimated to be between 100 and 200 million years old. As you enter the swell from the northwest, you'll follow geologic history back in time. From youngest on the top to oldest on the bottom, the strata includes mostly sandstones formed through deposition. Well, the clouds have moved to the east and the sun has come out and really warmed things up. And it has just turned into a gorgeous day. So we are looking to the northeast right here, and this that we're looking into is Buckhorn Draw, and that's where we're going to be going later on today. That is the main road to get down to the San Rafael River and up into other parts of the San Rafael Swell. In the late 1800s, outlaws like Butch Cassidy once hid from lawmen in the cracks, caves, and canyons of the swell. The Dirty Dozen and Cassidy's Wild Bunch made their homes in the plateaus of southeastern Utah. We are going to go out on this point here. Earlier, we were up over on the other side of that big cliff over here. Well, we are out on this point, and boy, what a view. The big canyon you can see down there is where the San Rafael River runs. And as I pan this over, you can see the other part of the wedge, which we're going to go to next. That's the more popular side. And in the background is the Wasatch Plateau. And we are back at the truck. That's a really nice hike out there. I'd highly recommend it. If you're going to do it, just make sure you grab the file with the coordinates and the route marked on it and check it out. That'll help you out a lot. It's real nice out there. This is the Wedge Overlook, or it's a little farther west than the Overlook. This is where all the dispersed camping is. You can camp anywhere along this rim here. You can probably see that red RV way out there. There's another vehicle on the point. But this looks down to the San Rafael River, and you can kind of see it down there and a bunch of cottonwood trees growing along it. But this is a really nice area. There are a lot of people that come up here, so a lot of these campsites get taken quickly, especially the really nice scenic ones. Where we have been yesterday and earlier today, you know, if you're looking for some solitude, I would recommend going over there, but this is definitely worth stopping and taking a look at. So this is the Wedge Overlook here, and this is the Little Grand Canyon of the San Rafael River. It's a really nice spot up here. Right over there you can see they've got a bulletin board. There's a picnic table. That's where most of the people park and get out and take a look at this. We're just a few feet down from it. There is also restrooms and things like that over there. And there's a lot of camping over in this direction. If you're up here with a truck and a trailer and you don't want to bounce down that road we were just on, you got plenty of options right over here. It's an absolutely beautiful place to come and visit. As you are heading out to the Wedge, you're going to come across this area here. Now this is an informational kiosk. It looks like they've got basically just information, safety tips, guidelines for what to do and how to behave. It looks like at some point they have a window that's open and maybe someone in there to help out on busy weekends. And right here talks about the geology of the San Rafael Swell. Gives you a nice big map of it. And it looks like they have brochures down here too. Over on this side, they talk about other areas in this vicinity to go and travel in. They cover Green River, Arches, Dead Horse Point, Canyonlands, Crystal Geyser, Black Dragon Canyon, the John Wesley Powell History Museum, Swayze's Beach, Nefertiti Rapids, Saucer Basin, and Sago Canyon. And on this side, they continue talking about the Wedge Overlook and more suggestions on places to go. This talks about the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry, and a few years ago, they made that into a national monument. It's one of the premier areas in the state where they find dinosaur bones. It talks about Joe's Valley, the Buckhorn Pictograph Panel, which we're going to go and see tomorrow, and Millsite State Park. And over here, it talks about the Museum of the San Rafael and Huntington State Park. This sign talks about the Buckhorn Well. This was one of the first water wells in this area. I'll just read this to you really quick. The National Historic Buckhorn Well has served as a familiar point of reference for decades, not only as a geographic reference, but equally important as a cultural point of reference. The well was located near the northwest boundary of the San Rafael Swell at the intersection of Emery County Roads EM 332 and EM 401 and EM 405, 12 miles east of Castledale. The historic Buckhorn Well and livestock watering system dates shortly after 1939, when the Grazing Service, predecessor to the BLM, was established under the Taylor Grazing Act to lease grazing rights for rangelands in the West. Development of the well and the watering system reflected the local ranchers' willingness to work with the federal government in managing western lands. Compared to most stockmen in other western states who were opposed to federal management of grazing lands, a number of Utah ranchers petitioned the government to create grazing districts under federal management. Drilled between December 1, 1945 and February 10, 1946, to a depth of 476 feet, producing 22.6 gallons per minute, the Buckhorn Flat Well was intended to provide water for 600 to 1,500 head of cattle and 6,000 head of sheep. So we'll walk over here and take a look at this. It's pretty cool. Now, this place also has several picnic areas. You can stop, take a break. There's a really big parking area. It's kind of a staging. A lot of people use this as a staging area for taking ATVs out. And on this side, it again talks about other areas in the vicinity like Goblin Valley, Little Wild Horse Canyon, the Rochester Panel. Boy, I haven't been to this one before. And talks more about pictographs and petroglyphs. We made it down to the bottom of Buckhorn Draw and the San Rafael River, and then we turned off on what's called the Mexican Mountain Road, and we came maybe a mile and a half up there. There's a lot of dispersed camping to be found off of that road. We found this fantastic campsite right underneath these cliffs, and the best part is this is relatively out of the wind. It is still windy, there's a storm system moving through, and it's supposed to gust up to 20-30 miles an hour later on tonight, which is why I didn't want to camp up on the Wedge this evening. So we ended up coming down here, and it looks like things have been pretty good. It's going to be a pretty nice night. We've got lots of sunshine, still got hours of daylight, and it's nice and warm back in here, and it's not too windy. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This is just part one. There's going to be a part two tomorrow. I'm going to drive up Buckhorn Draw and show you a few things up there because it's a really cool place. But we're going to go up, make some dinner, and relax for the evening. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more videos about hiking and camping out here on America's public lands, consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and you can join us each week for something different. So we'll see you guys then.